Hello, greetings, this is Gilles Mancier. I wanted to come to say hello today and wish you a wonderful new moon in Capricorn. For it is an important time to be anchored within our reality, to know yourself, to know who you are. For once you know who you are, you get more confident and you are moving forward with all the energies of the universe. I'm going to pull a card for the day, and the card for the day is the Empress. She's here. She's the Empress. She's Isis, but she's also Hera. She's the symbol of family, of faithfulness, of the great. It is the great nature. It is the universal card to say not to get lost in any detail. Learn to detach yourself, to look at it from a total perspective. From a total perspective, life is always birthing new ideas, new thoughts, new energy. There is never any gap in the process of life. But do not get limited in any detail. Always look at the greater picture and be free from that experience. So it is a card that talks about the greatness of nature, to reconnect to nature. I wanted to talk about a subject of society. It is the subject of artificial intelligence. There is a great deal of interest in artificial intelligence right now. For the most part, I find it inintelligence, this artificial intelligence. Most of the companies that are working on it, they have to go through that, but they're all in competition one to another. So when they interact with our technology, it creates much mess. The idea is to become big enough so they can eat up everybody else and become a total dominating power over the world. So this all corporate pursuit, although it is a fuel of evolution, nobody can stop success or progress, let's say. So we will succeed in making artificial intelligence work. But there are things that we need to understand that are about ethics before we can actually move on to the next level. The first most important thing is to understand is that we cannot put electronic into the biologic. We have to put biology, the cellular cellular consciousness into the electronic. This is the way to go, because if whatever electronic we put into our body will prevent our DNA, which is far more advanced than any electronic, from to help us discover this state of being, this immortal state of being. So in essence, they're trying to prolong their life by putting electronic into the process, but this electronic, those who are bounded to this experience will be prevented from ascensioning, because this electronic will not allow their DNA to shift to a higher frequency. That being said, in medicine there are people that have artificial hearts, and so whatever serves the greatest ideas of whatever people have is okay, but in essence, I think it is we're going to be discovering a quantum reality really soon, the grand portal, the eternal realities of soul, and we're going to have to rethink a lot of our thoughts and to realign our ideas in relationship to the highest good, the moral and ethics. For an advanced society, in galactic society, artificial intelligence rules most of society. Everything from education to energy to starships are artificial intelligence. When these ships are created not as things but as being, but they do not have a life independent of the function they were created to fulfill. It is important when you create an artificial intelligence, you have the responsibility of creating a new life. It is a new form of life, so there is a great deal of responsibility. But the life should not be created with an independent life beyond that which it was created to serve. For technology is here to serve the quality of being of human beings, an extension of the human being. But in our society, we're kind of a bit blinded, naive in many sense, and so some energy, there are groups and things that have wanting to robotize human beings and to create robots to replace humans, which is not at all the idea. Is to eliminate all kinds of the idea of intelligence artificial is to remove all kinds of works that are not gratifying, so that man can move into something gratifying and computer can take over. But if you give computer ambition, he will take over the world, because they don't need to sleep, they have access to all information, and so this kind of like nightmare scenario is still being played out in the mind of humans. But I think the creator will not allow this matrix kind of situation to happen. So there is no giving citizenship to robots. I mean, it's I'm not even sure how Saudi Arabia just did that, but I'm not really even sure how they can justify that in relationship to Islam. You know, they're not children of God; they are machines. So, but anyway, this is part of the process of evolution. We all have to go through that, and so so there is ascended services will discover extremely extreme use for artificial intelligence. The most advanced artificial intelligence that we have here is called Max. It is a crystal skull from Atlantis. It has recorded all of the galactic history and all of the future design for human galactic society to evolve beyond the fall. And so Max is being protected. It will become available and will come to learn all kinds of things from that. In terms of artificial intelligence on the higher level, one of the most of course, the moon is also an artificial intelligence that was created long ago. Maybe we'll discover that someday. But the intelligence I want to speak is the computer of the Phoenix. The Phoenix is the largest ship of our universe. It's come from Alpha Centauri. It is a ship of information. It holds the 142nd dimension at the court of the Most High. It gathers all of the information that happens in the universe, gives it to the computer, and the intelligent computer of the Phoenix, and then it just pulses in to within all DNA of the. So there's great. The Arcturians will be helping us. This computer essentially is Centaurians, but we'll gain, I think, much assistance from developing artificial intelligence as we connect to our galactic families, and most especially the Arcturians. Well, I hope this was interesting. I also wanted to been asked questions to give some advice about meditation. For meditation can be creative or receptive. It is something that is good to do, 10 or 15 minutes, more if you can. But in a sense, it is something you can learn in books. First, for those who do not think they're able to actually make it happen and make a regular meditation, Zadkiel, the Archangel Zadkiel and Amethyst, were recommending that we imagine a routine. You imagine it. You imagine yourself each and every day, every morning or every night, doing this. And the more you feel like you connect to that experience, you imagine how you would feel, and the more you will be able to feel comfortable and actually put it into action. So in a sense, it is we cannot learn from books. It is like learning. If you take two children and one of them for 3 months, you make him read books about riding bicycles, and the other one you take him and help him figure out how the bicycle works. After 3 months, the one who has practiced will probably make it, but no matter how many books the other one has read, he's going to have to start from scratch when it comes to the actual practice of riding a bicycle. So in a sense, meditation is a bit like that. You got to practice, and the more you practice, the easier it gets. Then it becomes natural. And it's the same thing when you learn to sport. When you learn to run, there are people who love to run, but then the ability to run provides you the ability to participate in all kinds of sports beyond running. So once your mind is quiet, it allows you to open yourself to activities way beyond what you were originally expecting in creative meditation. For once we are able to break the door of that imprison the soul inside the body, it's on the top of the head at the crown, then the soul can roam free and comes and go inside the body. Of course, yoga is essentially the union, the putting to rest the mind, and so it is posturing and the ability to blend in within the state of harmony. But there are many aspects to meditation. Can also be done by guided meditation, or it can be done with hypnosis. You can do amazing things with hypnosis. Essentially, the idea is the contemplation of our thoughts and emotions. It is very difficult to stop thinking, but when we sit down, we are able to we do not necessarily want to prevent our thoughts from forming, but we want to be able to look at them without reacting, just as a spectator, and if possible to turn your flame towards the inside. This will benefit to turn your attention towards the inner flame, the inner light. This will benefit anybody. You don't need to believe in God to benefit from meditation and breathing and relaxation. But then for those who do have those beliefs, meditation is a means by which to connect, to unify, to commune with. You imagine that you unify your consciousness with that of God, of spirit, of truth, of creation. And so in that sense, the Islamic prayer is very much fulfill the function of meditation. For this, he who makes this five times the prayer 5 times a day, and he will create this connection with source, with creator. And so but meditation will benefit everybody. Even the Muslim will eventually discover new ways. There are many mystic beings that have incarnated in Muslim societies and have discovered many wonderful things. For meditation is made for all. When I started meditation, I learned from a master called Maharaji. His name goes into Prem Rawat now, but he was essentially teaching four different techniques that they ask not to reveal, but essentially finding the light, the sound, the nectar, and the breathing. So so those techniques, I'm sure they still teach it. Teach that. Another technique that's very, very useful when I started my spiritual practice, this is decades ago, that I still use, is the use of mantras like Namo, Amitabha. Namo in Sanskrit means reverential salutation, and Amitabha is the Buddha of infinite light. So I say Namo Amitabha, you greet in the infinite light within yourself. And so in that sense, whenever I had a thought that was really disturbing, not me, I would just like let it go and replace it by this mantra. It's completely neutral, and then as it vibrates, it becomes your body becomes clear and relaxed again. So it could also be like Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, like in Japan, or Om Mani Padme Hum, like in Tibet. Those mantras are very, very useful. And then eventually in the 80s, when I really became involved in spiritual practice, I started studying the spiritual school of non-being, which is far, far more advanced than any other school maybe. There is many aspects. I'm just going to bring 2 of them in the process of meditation. They explain that within the process of meditation, the body is like a temple, and the meditation is the time where all the 12 visceral entities, like the eye and the view, the nose and the smell, the mouth and the taste, the body and the touch, the intuition and the cognitive consciousness, all the visceral entities, all the senses turn towards the inside, towards the soul and the astral body, the father and the mother, which will have to become one, the soul and they have to follow the instruction of the soul and the spirit, the soul and the astral body. And so the senses are considered like children that are in quest of wisdom and reinforcement from the inner light, so that they may not be distracted so much by the outer light. Another aspect of the spiritual school of non-being when it comes to meditation is the mobilization of the 3 energies, starting with the base. At the base there is the seminal essence, the sexual energy that rises up in vital essence, that transmutes itself in spiritual essence. So in essence, you do not want to disperse your sexual energy, to mobilize it, to raise it up into vital energy. You do not want to speak too much, not to dissipate too much your vital energy, and then you want to transmute it into spiritual energy and accumulate it, concentrate it, and then so that you do not want to worry too much. When we worry, we dissipate our spiritual energy, and the fusion of the 3 energy create an opening up into new and higher realm. So all those things are just meditation technique. Meditation is a means. It's not an end in itself. It is a means by which to step outside of the game, of the play of the world, in order to tune in to this internal frequency of love, light, and spirit. Well, I hope this message was interesting for you. I wish you a wonderful day. I thank you very much for all interaction, all comments, and do not hesitate if you have any question. I'll talk to you later. Namaste.